Hi everyone. Today we are going to be looking at how to automate EMR jobs with Airflow. Okay. In my previous video, I showed you how we can use Python, specifically pandas, to connect to redfin data source. Okay, we extracted the data, loaded that into our S3 bucket, and then also use Python pandas to do the transformation of that data, and then also loaded that in S3 bucket. Okay, immediately that landed in S3 bucket, that triggered a snow pipe which helped automatically run the copy command to load the data into Snowflake. Okay, after which we connected Power BI to the Snowflake table. Okay, we used Airflow that is running in an EC2 instance to automate this process. Okay, I then created another video for you guys wherein I showed you what Amazon EMR is and how you can provision that. Okay, so we did provision that. We connected that to redfin data source wherein we extracted our data and transformed the data. The transformation was done using pyspark that we are running in a Jupyter notebook. The Jupyter notebook was running in Amazon EMR. Okay, and the result, that is the data, was saved in Amazon S3 bucket. Okay, if you have not watched these videos, I encourage you to go and watch these videos right here. Okay, this video and this video. Okay, one thing I also want you to know is that when we had this project, this was manual, it was not automated. Okay, so but in today's video I want to show you how we can automate this process. Okay, how can we automate provisioning Amazon EMR? Okay, how can we automate using the wget command to extract data from the redfin data source? How do we also automate the transformation of the data and then loading the data inside the S3 bucket? Okay, all this we are going to be doing today using Apache Airflow that is running in an EC2 instance. Okay, and then after which the data lands in S3 bucket, that will trigger a snow pipe, okay, which then runs the copy command to load the data inside Snowflake, after which you can connect Power BI to the Snowflake. Okay, now this is how our DAG is going to look like. We are going to have an operator who is going to be an empty operator to start the pipeline, after which we are going to be creating the EMR cluster. Take note, all these are going to be automated. Okay, we are going to be using Airflow to orchestrate all this process. Okay, so when we create the EMR cluster, we need something that should be able to tell us if the EMR cluster has been fully created, and that is where this EMR job flow sensor comes in. Okay, we are going to add a sensor right here. For those of you that have been watching my Airflow playlist, I've explained what sensor is to you previously, but this is going to be specific to EMR job flow sensor. Okay, and then we are going to add steps. So that means we need a step to extract the data from the redfin data source. We are going to add an operator for that. Okay, now if the extraction is completed, we need a sensor that will tell us if the extraction is completed. Okay, and then we are going to be doing a transformation of the data. Okay, this is where we're going to adding the transformation step, and then we need a sensor to tell us that the transformation step is completed. Okay, after which, when we are all done with that, we are going to terminate the cluster, and this is where we're going to be using the EMR terminate job flow operator. Okay, now after we terminate the cluster, we need a sensor to tell us that the cluster has been completely terminated, and that is why we are going to be using the EMR job flow sensor. Okay, are you guys ready for this project? This is going to be an amazing project, guys. So I highly encourage you, watch this first of all to the end, okay, after which you can then follow again by also coding along. But I highly encourage you to first of all watch it so that you can fully understand what's going on before you start coding. Okay, all right guys, are you excited? Let's get started. So the first thing we are going to do, guys, is to first of all create or provision our EC2 instance. Okay, by the way guys, the link to these videos, I'm going to put these two videos I just showed right here, I'm going to put the link in the description. Okay, so go get it right there so you can watch those videos. Okay, very good. Now what we are going to do first is to provision an EC2 instance, because if you look at our architecture right here, we want the Airflow to run in an EC2 instance. Okay, so what we are going to do first of all is to provision an EC2 instance. Okay, so what that means is that if you don't have an AWS account, I highly encourage you just go to aws.com or aws.amazon.com and open an account. It's going to ask you for your credit card details and all of that, so put that right there, because there are some charges that are also going to accompany the use of the AWS resources, but they are very cheap. Okay, just make sure that whenever you are done with this project, you terminate all the resources that you have used so that you don't get charged. Okay, don't leave anything running while you are away. Okay, now let us come right here and click on EC2. If you don't have EC2 there, just come right here to this search bar and type EC2. When you have that, this is going to come out right here, and then you can click EC2. Okay, but in my own case, you can see I have mine right here on this bar, and the way I did it is, if you type EC2 or whatever service, you can click on this star. That means you want to add it to your favorite. Okay, so when you click on this star, just like this one right here, if I click EC2 image builder, see what happens. See what happens if I do that. You see, now it has added to this bar right here. Okay, I can take it out again. If I click it again, you can see that it is no more there. Okay, and that's how you can add that. Very good. Okay, now I've clicked on the EC2. This is what I am having right here. What I can then do right here is I can come to launch instance. Okay, also make sure you are in the region that you really want. In my own case, I want to be in this region, US West. Okay, so make sure you are in the exact region. If you want North Virginia, just click that, and then you can see it's loading, and then you see that it has changed to North Virginia. But in my case, I want US West because that's where I'm close to. Okay, very good. Then I'll come right here, I will say launch instance. So you want to launch the EC2 instance, right? But then you have to you have to provision it right here before you start it at all. Okay, so you have to give it a name. So in my own case, I'm going to give it this name. I'll say redfin-ac2. I will come right here, I will select Ubuntu. I want to use Ubuntu. And for this Amazon machine image, I want to stay right here in this particular one, free tier eligible. I want to stay right there. And also my instance type, I want to choose T2 medium. I've explained in my previous video, for those of you that have been watching me, that since this is Airflow, you need at least a 2 GB of memory. Okay, and this has 4 GB, so that makes it better. You can use T2 small, but you might be having sometimes might be freezing, because I've tried that before 1 or 2 times. It was freezing up on me, and then I decided I should use T2 medium, which has been working greatly. So you can maybe also select T2 medium, but know that it's going to have some charge, but it's very minimal. Okay, and then also we are going to create a key pair right here. Okay, But in my own case, I already create a key pair. Okay, so I will just come right here, and then I would come to end YouTube key pair. This is the name of my key pair that I already created. In your own case, if you have not created a key pair before, you can come right here, create new key pair. Although you can also come right here, I have a dedicated video where I showed you how to remotely SSH Visual Studio Code to AWS EC2. Right here, I showed you how you can create a key pair. So I encourage you to go ahead and watch this video, okay, for you to be able to do that successfully, okay. And I'll put the link to this in the description, okay. So take note of that, guys. Very good. So in my own case, I already have that, and then I'll come right here and I will say create security group, and I will check this. Also I will check this, okay. And then I will come right here. Pretty much everything is good. I will say launch instance, okay. This will take few seconds to launch and initiate the instance. You can see it says successfully initiated launch of instance, okay. I can come right here, instances, and just click that. You can see that this is the one that we are just launching right now, that we just created. You can see redfin -ec2. It is pending right now. The instance type is T2 medium. You can see that right there, okay. You can even see the key name, the key pair name that I selected. You can see that right there. Very good. Now you can see that this has changed to running, right? You can see status check. You see it is initializing right here, okay. Very good. Now it is running. We have the public IP already. So what we can do right now, guys, is that let us connect to this EC2 so that we can start installing our dependencies, okay. So make sure that your EC2 is checked, and then come to connect, click connect. So if you click connect, make sure you are in this EC2 instance connect, and then just come down and then click connect, okay. This is going to open a terminal in another tab, okay. I can just close this one right here. Now you can see right here, guys, that now I am inside my Ubuntu EC2 instance, okay. Now the next thing I can then do now is to start installing dependencies, okay. So the first thing I would like to do is, let's even just check the version of Python we have in this, because this comes in also pre-installed with Python. Let's see, Python -- version. Okay, I think it wants me to say Python 3 -- version. Very good. You can see we have Python 3.10.12, okay. Very good. Now what we can first of all do right here, guys, is let us do some updates here. So I will right click and I will just paste sudo apt updates. So let us run that. Okay, we are going to be installing dependencies. Remember, we are trying to get ready for the actual project, right? And part of that is that you need to install your dependencies first before you start building your pipeline, okay. So that is done. Then I'll do a copy and paste also right here. I'll right click and paste sudo apt install Python 3-pip. We want to install pip. I will say yes. I will say enter. I'll click enter, okay. We are trying to install pip right there. Pip is Python package manager. We're gonna let that run. Okay, we have this. Make sure that you click inside the at least, just to make sure that this page is active, and then do escape. Let us escape this. Very good. We have escaped that, and this is completed. Take note, even though you still see 99% right here, this is done. Yeah, I think it's some of the issues with AWS. It might be due to how this is showing on our interface on our screen right here. However, it's completed, yeah, because I've seen that before. So let us come back here and open that connect again, because we cannot use this, okay, because now it didn't take us back to where we need to enter our command. So let us open another terminal. Okay, let's establish a connection. I'm going to close this, and then the next thing we would like to do now is to install the VENV, the virtual environment. Okay, sudo apt install python 3.10-VENV. remember our Python version was 3.10. we checked it before. Okay, then I'll say yes. Let that right here, let that complete, and then okay, right here we are going to then do escape. Very good, very good. Yeah, also we're having the same issue, but that's fine, I'll just do another connect again. Yeah, I also noticed that when I was getting ready for this project, but that's fine, everything should still work fine. Okay, so I will close this, and then now let us remember that we just installed our virtual environment. Now let us create our virtual environment. Okay, so I will do a python 3-m VENV, and then I'm giving my virtual environment this name, redfin_VENV. I'll press enter, and that would create for us a virtual environment. Very good, guys, very good. Now that is done, the next thing we want to do now is we want to activate our virtual environment. So we will do a source redfin_VENV. this is the virtual environment that we just created, -bin -activate. Okay, let us activate that. Now you can see, because we activated that, you can see our virtual environment right here. So it shows that now we are in our virtual environment. Okay, remember what we are doing right here is we are installing our dependencies. Okay, so now for this project we are going to be needing Boto3. Okay, you're going to see what we are going to be needing that for eventually. So but let us install that right here first. We are going to do pip install Boto3. remember that we installed pip earlier, right? So now we are using that pip now to install Boto3. I'll click enter, and that is going to take some few seconds to run. Okay, that has fully running. And then also we are going to also install AWS CLI, because we want to also be able to use AWS CLI right here. Okay, because we are going to be configuring our EC2. So I will do pip install upgrade AWS CLI. I'm going to run that. That will take few seconds to complete. Very good, that has completed. Now very good, now we have installed some of the dependencies right here. Okay, now what we want to do right now is let us go back to our AWS account. Okay, so remember that we signed in with our root user right here. Okay, so let us come here to create an access key, because the next thing I want us to do is I want us to configure our AWS with the necessary credentials. Okay, so what I'm going to do right here is just come to your profile here. Okay, and then come to security credentials. Remember I signed in with the root user. Okay, so I'll click on security credentials. Okay, and then I'll come right here to access keys. I'll say create access keys. Okay, and then I will check this, and then I'll say create access key. Very good, guys. Now you can see that it has created access key for me. I have access key, I have secret access key. I am not going to show you this, but it is hidden, right? So one thing also you can do is that you can download the CSV right here that contains your access key and secret access key. Okay, however, in this video I'm going to be showing you when I want to configure my AWS. You're going to be seeing my secret access key, right? But then after this project I'm going to deactivate it and delete it, so you cannot use it. So you have to create yours. Okay, so but then if you leave this page, you are not going to have access to this secret access key anymore. You are going to lose it. So that means you would have to create another one, okay, if you lose it. So for you not to lose it, I advise you just click on this download CSV so that you can download it as CSV. So I'll click download. You can see now it has downloaded right here. So I can go to my downloads folder and grab that if eventually I navigate out of this page. Say I close this page, okay, but for right now I will leave it open. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to configure this EC2. Okay, so I will come right here to my EC2 terminal right here, where our terminal where we are connected to our EC2, and we are inside also our virtual environment. Okay, so I'll come right here and I will say AWS configure. I will type AWS configure. Okay, and then I'll say enter. Now you can see it's asking me for my access key, so I'll come back right here. I'll just click this to copy. Okay, and then I'll come right here and right click and paste. I'll say enter. Now it's asking me for secret access key. I'll come back again right here. I'll copy secret access key. I'll come right here, guys, and then I would paste. Very good. And then I'll come here. It says default region. What is your default region? Like in my own case, I want to be working on US West -2. Okay, so I'll just come right here and I'll say US West -2. In your own case, just come right here and get the region. If you are working in North California, that will be US West -1, or North Virginia US East -1, or wherever you are, somewhere in the Pacific, in the Asia region, or Canada or Europe. Okay, just make sure you use the right region. Okay, so mine is US West -2. I'll click enter. Default output format, I will not type anything. I will just say enter. Very good. Now this has configured our AWS for us. Very good. Okay, now that we have configured our EC2, right, what we can then do now is let us install our Apache Airflow. Okay, remember we are still inside our virtual environment. Okay, so I'll right click and I will paste this. I will say pip install Apache Airflow. Okay, so I will enter. So this is going to install Apache Airflow for us. Okay, take note, guys, I am taking this step by step for you so that you don't have a problem when you are installing yours. I don't want to skip this step, okay, so that you can have all the necessary imports and all the necessary installations that will make this project a success for you guys. Guys, if you are finding this video valuable, please go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel right now, and also click on the like button of this video right now. Okay, because as you click on the like button and as you comment to this video, that is what will make YouTube algorithm to also rank us higher, okay, in the search. Okay, so please help us to share this video so that more people can benefit from it, and click on that like button and also put your comment in the comment section. Okay, very good, guys. And for those of you that have not been watching my videos, I have a playlist of Apache Airflow right here. As you can see, these are 15 videos right here. You have 15 videos right here on Apache Airflow, different data engineering projects. Okay, I encourage you right here, guys, go ahead and explore each of these projects, okay, so that they can also be part of your own portfolio, and then you can even speak to them during interviews. Okay, all right, very good, guys. Now we have been able to install our Apache Airflow. Okay, there is also one thing I also would like to install. We call it Amazon Provider. Okay, in my other videos, this particular video right here, where I explain all the fundamental concepts of Apache Airflow. I also explain what what providers are, basically what providers are. Okay, so in the case of this now, we are going to be installing Amazon provider, and what this will help us to do is that it will help us to be able to get access to those EMR packages or those EMR libraries that we're going to be able to use to build this project. Okay, now we are going to have pip install Apache Airflow providers Amazon. I will enter that. I'll click enter on my keyboard, and that is going to complete its installation. Very good, guys. Now we have been able to do that. Congratulations, guys. Okay, very good. We have been able to install those dependencies. Okay, now the next thing I would like us to do is for us to be able to initialize our Airflow, because now we have installed it. Let us initialize our Airflow, and then we can go to the UI, okay, to see what it is. Okay, but first let us check the version of our Airflow, just so I can show you how you check the version. Airflow version, okay, Airflow space version. If you click that, you can see we are on 2.7.3. okay, very good. Now if I want to initialize my Airflow, all I need to do is to type in Airflow standalone. I'll paste it right here. Airflow standalone. Let's see what happens. So now this is initializing, creating the databases and all of that. Okay, let's give it some few seconds, and this is going to create for us a username and a password that we can use to connect to Airflow. You can see it says Airflow is ready. It gave us a username of admin, and also it gave us this password. Okay, very good. Now for us to go to the Airflow UI, we will come back to our EC2. Let us go back to our EC2 right here. I can just come to EC2, right click and open a new tab. I don't want to close this. Open a new tab. Okay, I can then go, make sure you are in the region you want. You can see this says North Virginia. Because of that, I don't have any instances running, because I don't have any instance running in North Virginia. So I will just come here and I will say US West. Now you can see in US West I have one instance running, which is what we are doing right now. So I can click this. You can see this is the one instance that is running. Okay, so now I can check this. If I check this, all I need to do is I want to copy this public IP address. I'll copy that, click that, and then I will paste that here. Okay, now Airflow is going to run in port 8080, so I'll put a colon and then I'll put 8080. Okay, and I'll press enter. Okay, now something is going to happen right here. You're not going to see anything loading right here. Why is that? It is because we have not opened the 8080 port that where Airflow is going to be running. So I will go back to my EC2. Okay, remember that you have it checked. Now go to security. Okay, and then if you go to security, let's come down to inbound rules. First of all, you can just come to security groups, click this link. If I click this link, it comes to security groups. Then I will go to inbound rules. Make sure you are in this tab, inbound rules. Okay, I will then say edit inbound rules. Okay, so I want to open that port. So I will say add rule. I will leave it at custom TCP. I will then say 8080, and then I would come right here. I will say anywhere IPv4. If you want, you can say my IP as well. Okay, so that means it's going to grab the IP of where your Wi-Fi is, right? And then you can connect. That means anybody that wants to use this needs to be in your IP. Okay, but in the case of this one, I will just use anywhere IPv4. That way you don't have to see my IP. Okay, and then I will say save rules. if I say save rules and I go back to that tab where I wanted to open the UI, see what happens. You can see even without you refreshing, it refreshed itself and then it's connected, and that is because it noticed that you have opened the port 880 for Airflow to run. Okay, so I will come right here. Remember that the username that Airflow gave us was admin, but we don't know the password, so let's go and grab the password. Now you can just scroll back up to that place that it says Airflow is ready. Okay, take note that all these get commands and all of that you are seeing right here, these are just due to the interactions you're having with the UI. So if you are, as you are doing stuff right here, you're going to be seeing things going on right here. Okay, so just come right here, copy this, right click, I will say copy. Don't do Ctrl+C. If you do Ctrl+C, it's going to kill this server. Okay, just right click and just highlight, right click and say copy. Okay, then come right here and just right click and say paste, or you can do a Ctrl+V. Okay, very good, guys. Now you guys can see, now we have our UI. Okay, we have our UI, and our UI shows the different DAGs that comes pre-configured or pre-installed when we installed our Airflow. You can see we have 48 DAGs. In your own case, you might not see 48 DAGs, you might see 46 or 50 or something. So it basically just depends on when you are executing this project as well, right? So you might be executing this project in the next 1 month or 2 months, and Airflow team may have done some updates, and that may have changed the number of DAGs that you are seeing right here. But just take note that in my own case now I have 48 default DAGs right here. Okay, so I'll leave this DAG right here. Okay, but what we are going to be doing eventually is that we are going to be creating our own DAG. Okay, so that means that by the time we create our own DAG, we should then be able to see 49 DAGs right here, 49 DAGs. Okay, very good, guys. Now we have been able to install all our dependencies. Okay, and we have been able to also install our Apache Airflow. Now also we have been able to configure our AWS. Okay, also we have been able to launch the Airflow UI. Very good, guys. Now the next thing I would like us to do is, if you come back to our project, right, our architecture right here, you will notice that we are going to be using we are going to be needing S3 buckets. Okay, so we are going to be creating different folders in our S3 buckets right here. Let us do that first of all, guys, before we go ahead and start creating Airflow task. Okay, this is pretty easy, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying this process. This is a very fantastic project. So I will come right here to my AWS. I have S3 right here. In my own case, I already added it in my favorites. If you have not added it, I will encourage you to do that. I've showed you how to do that from at the beginning of this video. So I will just come right here and I will right click. If you don't know, if you don't have yours there, just say S3. Just type S3. Okay, so just come right here and just click to go to a new tab. Okay, so I would have that right here. Very good. Now I want to create a bucket. Now what name do I want to give my bucket? I'm going to give it this name, redfin-data-project-yml. Remember, your bucket name needs to be unique globally. You can see bucket name must be unique within the global space. So that means that you cannot use the same bucket name I've used right here. So what you can just do is, maybe you can just put your initial right here. Okay, just to make it, unique as well. Okay, and you cannot use underscore. You cannot use underscore. It has to be dash, because if you look at it now, if I say underscore, let's see what happens. I think if I want to provision it, it's not going to go through. You can also try that. Okay, but I don't want to do that right now, not to waste too much time. but then also you need to make sure that it is in the region that you want. You can see this says North Virginia, but I don't want this because my EC2 is in US West. I want my S3 also to be in US West. So I will just come right here. I will select US West. Okay, very good. And then every other thing should be the same. So let me scroll down. Every other thing looks good. Everything looks good. Then I will say create bucket. This will take 1 or 2 seconds. You can see right here it has created the bucket for me. Redfin data project YML. Okay, I will close this. Very good. Now I will click this. Now there are different folders I want to create in this S3 bucket. Okay, now remember that in our architecture, if we extract data from Redfin, we want to save that data in our raw folder or raw S3 bucket. Okay, so in that case, inside this S3 bucket that we are using for our project, let us create a folder. To create folder, what do? Just come to here, just say create folder. Okay, and then I'll just give it this name right here. I'll give it this folder name. Okay, store raw data YML. Okay, and then I'll just leave everything the way they are. I will say create folder. You can see I have the folder. I also want to create a folder where I'm going to be saving my transformed data. Okay, so I will say create folder. I will do the same thing, put it right there. Okay, the name of the folder doesn't have to be unique. You can use the same name I have right here, or if you want, you can use a different name. Okay, so I will say create folder. Now I've created that folder. Now there is another folder I want to create. I call it scripts. I will say create folder, and then I will put scripts, and then I'll say create folder. Now you are going to see me shortly what we are going to use the script for, but essentially there are some scripts that we are going to be running in our EMR cluster. Okay, and we are going to be putting those scripts or those file inside this script folder. Okay, I hope you guys get it now. We are going to be storing our raw data inside this store raw data, okay, folder, the transform data inside this, and then our script inside this. Okay, very good guys, very good. I hope you guys are getting this, guys. Okay guys, if you are new to this channel, please go ahead right now and click that subscribe button right now. Okay, we want to grow right now even more than where we are right now. We want to help more people. Help me, okay, to be able to reach more people. We want to get more subscribers. Let us do it, guys. We can do it. Let us do it, guys. Okay, now the next thing I want us to do is that before we can start coding out our different tasks, we need to connect Visual Studio Code to our EC2. Remember that we provisioned our EC2, and let us connect our Visual Studio Code to that EC2. And for you to be able to do that, I quickly go ahead right now and watch this video, guys. I'll put the link to this video in the description below. Okay, I already showed you how you can remotely SSH or connect Visual Studio Code to AWS EC2. Okay, so watch this video. It's not a long video, it's 23 minutes. Okay, so watch this video so that you can learn how you can connect your Visual Studio Code to your EC2 instance. I am going to go ahead right now and connect mine, and then I would get back to this video where we'll start creating our task. Okay, all right, see you then. Very good, guys. Now in my own case, I have connected my Visual Studio Code to my EC2 instance. You can see it right here, guys. You can see right here. I've done that. So what I'm going to do right here now is I'm going to come to File, and then I'll say Open Folder. Okay, because I want to open the folder in my EC2 instance. Okay, and then you can see Home Ubuntu. I would say okay, and then this is going to load up my EC2 instance. Basically, it's going to load up the folders. You're going to see it right here. Okay, now you can see it right here now, guys. You can see this is AWS. This is an hidden file, although I can see it here .aws. Okay, you can see that. Remember that we did the configuration, the config, the credentials. You can also explore yours. Go ahead and take a look at what is inside. Okay, yours, but don't change anything right there. I could as well just show you right here. Okay, because I'm going to deactivate these credentials anyways after these projects. Okay, you can see, remember that we had our region to be US West 2, and then we add our credentials, access key, and our secret access key. Remember when we did the AWS configure, this was what happened. Okay, when we did AWS configure, that created this folder for us, and then this config and these credential files, and then you put all those data that we entered inside there. Okay, and this is going to be needed for Airflow to be able to have access to our AWS accounts. Okay, that is what is going to help us to do that. And then one thing also you need to also then look at right here, you can see now we also have Airflow folder because we have installed our Airflow. Okay, now if you come right here to this config, airflow.config, now see what we have right here, guys. Let me bring this down, or better still, I think I don't need this today. Let me close this so we have more space. Okay, very good. See something right here, guys. It said the folder where your Airflow pipeline live, mostly likely a subfolder in a code repository. This path must be absolute. This is what is happening, guys. Okay, if you want to run Airflow, right, you need to have a .py file, which is going to be your DAG, right, and that needs to reside in a particular folder. So wherever that file resides, you need to put the path right here. Okay, so in our own case, this folder already, this path already comes when we installed Airflow. This already comes right with this path, home Ubuntu Airflow -dags. We could change this path if we want, or just leave this path. In my case, I want to leave this path. So what I'm going to do right now is I will go to home Ubuntu Airflow. So you can see home Ubuntu. We are in home Ubuntu right here, and this is Airflow. Okay, but there is no DAGs yet. If you open it, no DAGs. So what I will do is I will right click on Airflow and I will create new folder, and I will say DAGs. Okay, and then I will now put my .py file, which is going to serve as my DAG, because that is how Airflow is going to know where your DAG lives. That is how Airflow is going to know where to run the different tasks. Okay, so I'll come right here, I will right click this, and I will say new file, and then I'll say redfin_analytics.py. I will say enter. Very good, guys. If you have this, guys, congratulations. You can see that our .py file is inside this path. Again, if you want to use a different path, yes, go ahead and put your .py file in a different path, but just make sure that you update this path. It needs to be absolute. Okay, but in this case we are good to go right here. Okay, very good, guys. Now we have our .py file. Okay, now let's start developing our task right here. The first task we want to do right here, if you come back to our architecture, we want to have something of such like this that is going to be like an entry point to our DAG. You don't have to do it, but you know, it's just something that I think it's good. It helps you to at least have an entry point to your DAG. But before we do that, we have to quickly do a few imports right here. So I will say from Airflow import DAG. Again, this DAG right here also helps Airflow to know that yes, this .py file is where I should be running all the DAGs. Okay, because you need this DAG right here to be imported. Okay, now we are also importing time delta and date time, and then we're also importing dummy operator. If you don't know what operator is, guys, go to this my video right here. This first video in my playlist, that's this one right here, that I explain all these different concepts to you. If you are new to Airflow and you don't really understand those names yet, go and watch this playlist. I've already done a lot of projects right here for you. Ultimately, this first project, this one explains those initial concepts you first of all need to understand, like providers, like sensors, like operators. I already explained all those right here. Okay, very good. Now that we have that, then the next thing we would like to do is we would like to first of all define our default args. Okay, now let's copy and paste default args. So the default args we're going to be needing, you put owner, you say Airflow, you can put any name, you can put the name of your team. Okay, you can put the name of your team. Depends on past, just say false. Okay, because we don't want to depend on past. Start date, I like to just put today's date that I'm running this project, 11/17/2023. So you can do the same, the date that at which you are running the project, that you are doing this project, just put that date right there. Okay, then email, just put maybe the email of your team or yourself. Email on failure, I will put false. Email on retry, I put false. I've also done some projects where I put this to be true. You can explore those projects, okay, in that playlist I just told you about. I'll put the link in the description below. Retries, I put 2. Retry delay, I put 10 seconds. Okay, now the next thing I would like to do is that let me instantiate my DAG. Okay, what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to do a copy and paste. Then I'll say with DAG. Remember that we already import DAG right here, right? So I will just instantiate it right here with DAG, and then you give your DAG an ID. This is my own ID. You can give it whatever ID name that you want. Okay, so I'm calling it Redfin Analytics Spark Job DAG. So give it whatever name, that's the DAG ID, and then I'm passing the default args. Remember the default args that we first of all put right here. I'm passing it to this right now. Okay, so that Airflow knows all the different settings that I want. Okay, also I'm putting my catch up to be false right here. Okay, very good, guys. I hope you guys are getting this now. Okay, now the first thing I want to do right here is I want to put my first task. So my first task is going to be a dummy operator. So I call it start pipeline. So I give it a variable name, start pipeline. Okay, so remember that I imported the dummy operator right here. Then I give it a task ID. This is the task ID name I want to give it. So this is my first task. Okay, this is not really doing anything. This is just, I'm just using it as an entry point to the project. Okay, if I want, I may also use it as the last point of my DAG. I can call it end pipeline. Okay, and use the same dummy operator. Okay, now the next thing I would like to do, okay, is to then create my EMR cluster. Okay, what I want to do right now, guys, is to create my EMR cluster. Remember that what we are trying to do in this project is we want to automate this process. Okay, want to automate this process. Okay, so now we want to create EMR cluster. So there is an operator called EMR create job flow operator. EMR create job flow operator. Let me take you right there, guys, to that documentation. I have it somewhere. Okay, very good. I'll also provide you this documentation, okay, in my description. Okay, so if you come to this documentation, you can see create an EMR job right here. You can see that, guys. Create an EMR job right here. So if you then come right here, if you come to create EMR job, you can see you say EMR create job flow operator. Okay, then you give it a task ID, and then you say job flow overrides. Then you are going to have this. So that means that we first of all need to go and define what job flow overrides is. Okay, let us understand what that is right here. So job flow overrides right here is basically just some nested dictionary right here, where you are specifying the name of your EMR, the release label of your EMR, the applications you want to install, the instances that you want, okay, in terms of the primary node and the core node and the task node, okay, and some other parameters that you want to put right here. Okay, now if you go to my previous video right here, guys, I took my time to explain to you what EMR is and how you can provision EMR. Okay, I encourage you, go also right there and just quickly take a look on what this is and how you can manually provision EMR, because at least this will help you to be able to understand what that is before you get into doing it manually. Before you get into doing it automatically, right? Using automating it using Airflow. It's good for you to see it manually. Okay, so but what I can do for you guys right here is that let us come to EMR. I'll open this in a new tab. You can also search for it right here. Now you know how to do that. So if you come to create cluster, let's just assume I want to do it manually. I just want to show you something real quick. However, if you really want to see it in depth, go to this video right here, guys. Okay, so now if you look at this create cluster, if I click that, you can see that it's asking me that I should give it a name. Okay, and that is what this thing is talking about. You can see this first one, name. Okay, you say Amazon EMR release. A release contains a set of applications which can be installed on your cluster. Which one do you want to use? Okay, you can see that the latest one is 6.15.0, then you have 6.14, so you have to choose which one. Okay, like in my own case, when I worked on the project, I used 6.13. I think that was what was the latest one. Then I have not tried 15 and 14. I've tried 13, so we're going to pick 13 for today. Okay, so in that case, you can say, okay, you pick 13, and then you can say which applications do you want to get installed on your computer. Okay, like the last video that I did Spark, Jupyter Enterprise Gateway, because I needed this for my Jupyter notebook, which I showed in that video. You can see I use Jupyter notebook. Okay, so and then you can then come down right here and then select the instance group, talking about your primary node and your core node and your task node if you want to use task node. Okay, and then you come here and talk about virtual private cloud, your VPC. So in my previous video, I showed you how you can do that. In this video, I showed you how you can create VPC. We are also going to do that today. Okay, so we need to, our EMR needs to run in a particular VPC, and then we need to add steps. You can see say use commands and scripts to tell your cluster where to find and how to process your data. So the steps are basically the different scripts, okay, or the different workflow of your EMR. What are the things you want your EMR to do? Maybe the first step is you want it to extract data from a particular source, and then maybe the next step is you want to do transformation. Then maybe the next step is you want it to do another transformation. Maybe the third step is you want it to do some loading to a database or something. That is what the steps is going to be, and then you can put the scripts or the commands which you want to run. All of that we are going to be doing today using Airflow to automate that process. Okay, and then if you want to terminate the cluster, you can set that right here. I showed you in that video and all of that. And also, one thing also you need to know is that the logs of your EMR needs to be saved somewhere. Okay, in this case, Amazon is, if I create this cluster, Amazon is going to create this S3 bucket for me automatically. Okay, but in the case of today's video, we are going to create our own S3 bucket or our own folder ourselves on our S3. Okay, and then we will specify that path in our Airflow so that when our Airflow runs, when it triggers the EMR, those logs can go directly into the folder that we have created. We don't want AWS to create it for us. Okay, now you can see how all these things are, and then we will need an EC2 right here which we can create. And I've also told you can create an you are going to create keep here, rather not EC2, keep here. Okay, I've showed you in that video how you can create keep here. Okay, and we are going to do that also in today's video. Okay, and then we are going to have a service role. I'm going to show you how you can create service role right there by automating the process. Okay, and then if you fill all these things manually, then you create cluster. I showed you all those in my previous video. What I just did right here is just to do a walkthrough for you, for especially those of you that have not watched that video, so that you understand better what I am doing when putting everything together in this .py file. Okay, so this job flow overrides, we are going to put that right here. I'm going to do a copy and paste right here for you guys. That way we don't have to be typing everything out. So I will just come right here. I can just come right here and just paste. Okay, now one thing I will just quickly mention is that this EMR create job flow operator, you can see right there, guys, that we have not imported it. Okay, so I would like to quickly import it, and for me to import it, I will just come right here. I will just import. By the way, let me do all these imports right here at once, so that you can easily, we don't have to be doing them one after the other. Okay, we are going to be needing Boto3, so we are importing Boto3. So I'm also importing EMR create job flow operator from this right here. Okay, we are importing it. Okay, we are also going to be talking about these operators later. Okay, stay tuned, guys. Okay, so now we have imported this, and that is what I just showed you right here. But then we need this job flow overrides, which I have also put right here. Okay, so this is nested dictionary. You can see it is closed. Now what we are going to be doing is we are going to be giving this a name. This is the name I want to give it. Remember, I just showed you that you could do it manually, which was what I did in my previous video. But in today's video, we are going to automate the process. Okay, so the release label, this is the release label. Okay, the applications I want to install, then I'm saying these are the two applications I want to install, this and this. Okay, actually in this video I don't really need this, but I just wanted to put it so that you guys can see that you can put 1, 2, 3, 4 more applications right there that you want to be installed in your provisioned cluster. Okay, and another thing also is that what is the URL, URI of the S3 bucket where you want to save the logs of your EMR. So this is what we want to do. Remember that we had the S3 bucket we created before, but we need to create this folder. So let me go back to my S3 buckets. Let me go to my S3 bucket right here and create a folder. I'll give it this name, EMR logs-YML, because we don't want AWS to create it for us. I want everything to be in this folder. Okay, and that is why I gave it that, so you give it this path, okay, and then visible to all users. I'm putting that as false. So let me take you to the documentation for that. Again, you know, I'm doing this so you guys can really understand what we are talking about right here, guys. So let us look for that. I saw it somewhere. Okay, look at visible to all users. It says EMR clusters launched with the EMR API like this one are not visible to all users by default. So you may not see the cluster in the EMR management console. You can change this by adding visible to all users to be true. Okay, so in my own case, I don't want it to be visible to all users. I put it as false. Okay, I hope you guys are getting this now. Very good. Now the next thing is I want to have my instances. Okay, in the case of this, I want to just have one master node and two core node. Okay, so depending on what you are trying to do, let's say you want to have a task node, you just need to add another dictionary. You can see this is one dictionary for master node, another dictionary for core node. Okay, if you want to put a task node, just put another dictionary after this, right? So that so that everything can be inside this list. Okay, that's element 1 in the list, element 2 in the list, then you have element 3 in the list. Okay, so I have master node. You can give it whatever name you want to give it. Okay, then the market, I will say on demand. Okay, that is what I want. If you want spot instance, then you can choose that. Then what is the instance role? I say master. Instance type, I say m5.x large. That's the same thing I want for this. And then I'm saying my master is one node, and then my core node, I want 2 instance counts. Okay, very good. You can see that, guys. Then one thing also is that I will just say I need to create a VPC right here, guys. I need to create a VPC. So guys, if you look at this, you see that it says EC2 subnet ID. Remember I told you that the EMR is going to run inside inside the VPC, right? So we need to put EC2 subnet ID also right here. So what I'm going to show you right now is I'm going to quickly show you how we can create a VPC, and then we'll take one of the created VPC subnet and then put it right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is that I am going to go to right here, and then I'm going to type VPC. I'm going to type VPC, and then I will open right here. Okay, now I'm in the VPC console, and then I will say create VPC. Okay, you see VPC and more. I will be right here, and then I will give my VPC a name. Okay, as I complete this step, you see that this is going to be automatically updating. Okay, so you can see that it says project-VPC. So if I give it a name now, you can see this change to redfin EMR Airflow-VPC. Okay, and then every other thing will be the same. Number of availability zones, I can say 2. Number of public subnet, I can say 2. Number of private subnet, I can say 0. Just click 0 so that it changes to gray. And then make sure that your VPC endpoint is S3 gateway. Everything should be good. Then I will say create VPC. You can see now it's creating the VPC for me. Okay, you can see that, guys. I will not close this. Okay, if you come back to this, you have the EC2 subnet. Okay, what I will just do is I will just, I have 2 subnets right here, so I can just say take one of them. Okay, I'll just take the first one, so I will just come right here, and then I will just put this right here. Okay, let me delete this comments. Okay, and then EC2 key name. Okay, EC2 key name for this EMR. What I'm going to do right here for this EMR is I will come right here. Okay, and then I will type in key pair, and then you come right here, open a new tab. So I want to create a key pair. Okay, so what I can do is that I can say create key pair. I'll just say create key pair, and then I can give it a name. I can say EMR key pair Airflow. Okay, EMR key pair Airflow. Just put it that way. Let me copy it so that we can have that. Okay, or maybe okay, yeah, that should be fine. And then I'll say .pem file. I'll choose .pem format. Okay, and then I'll just say create key pair. You can see that immediately we did that. It downloaded a .pem file for us. Okay, I'll just leave that in my downloads folder. That's fine. And then you can see that this is our EMR key pair folder we just created. So I can just come right here, and then let me change the name to what we just created. Okay, then the next one says keep job flow alive when no steps. Keep job flow alive when no steps. I put it to be true. What is the meaning of that? Let us go back to our documentation and understand what that means. Okay, it says here we create an EMR single node cluster. This, okay, it's just explaining what they did right here in this documentation. But see what it's saying right here. It says the config keep job flow alive when no steps false tells the cluster to shut down after the step is finished. So what this means is that after that a particular step finishes, then you are saying that the cluster should shut down. Okay, you can see the config this false tells the cluster to shut down after the step is finished, right? But in our own case, we don't want that. We want the step to move after one step finishes. We want it to go to the next step. After that one finishes, go to the next step. After that one finishes, go to the next step. Okay, we don't want the cluster to shut down after a particular step has finished. Okay, so in that case, we will come here and then we will say true. We will leave it as true. Okay, keep job flow alive. Okay, then termination protected, I will say false. Okay, so that means setting this as false will allow us to programmatically terminate the cluster because we want to terminate it ourselves. Okay, now this last one that says job flow role and service role. Okay, if you have not used EMR on your AWS account before, that means you probably do not have this default role. You can check if you have it. Now, how do we check if we have it? Okay, what we are going to do right here is let us go back to our terminal. Let's go back to our terminal. Where is that again? Okay, I think we have it right here. Okay, we have it. I can close this. I don't need this anymore. I can even close this one. But make sure that where you have your Airflow running, you have that opened. Okay, so I can open another terminal. Okay, where we can run some commands right now. Remember that this is our EC2. It is checked. So I will just say connect. I'll click connect, then I will say connect right here. When I click that, the terminal is open. Then I can, let me close this, and then I can activate my virtual environment. Okay, I have activated it, and then now, like I said, let us make sure that this role is created. Okay, so if this is your first time that you are using AWS, or you have not even used EMR before or something, you want to check for the presence of this right here. If you have this default role, okay, let us check. One way that I can check is that I can just come to my IAM. You can type IAM right here. I can do this, maybe go to IAM, and then I can go to roles, and then maybe just look for that role right here if I have those roles. You can see that I don't have them right here. Okay, another way we can do it programmatically now is that let's come to our terminal right here and run this code, this command, which I will give to you in my description. Okay, or you see it in my GitHub, because the code we are going to be using in today's video, I'm going to be pushing them to my GitHub. Okay, so I'll give you access to that. So now if you run this command right here, so you want to check if these roles are in your AWS account. So if I do enter, you can see this did not return anything for me, right? Because I want it to list my rows and then be able to check if I have these rows right there. But you can see right here, that we don't have that. We also checked right here, we also don't see it, right? So what we can do right now is that we can, for us to have those rows, you can run this code. You can run this code right here. I will copy and paste. AWS EMR create default rows. Now it is run. It's going to run right now. Give it a few seconds. Now you can see it has run. You can see that it has saved all of this. Now we have this role in our AWS account right now. Okay, very good, very good. Let's see what happens if we run this again. Now you can see when we run this IAM list rows, you can now see that now it shows us that we have this role now. That's because we have now used the AWS command to run this. And remember that we installed the AWS CLI the last time, right? And that is what all these commands are all about. These are AWS commands. Okay, very good. Now that we have that, okay, so that means just copy and paste those right here. Okay, now I have gotten that. So now what that means is that now I have my task ID and I have my job flow overrides. So I have been able to put all the different commands that my Airflow needs to run to create my EMR cluster. Okay, I hope you guys get that now. Now that we have been able to do this, let us save this. Very good. Now we have saved it. If we go to our Airflow UI, okay, and then we can begin to refresh, and then we should be able to see the number of DAGs here increase to 49. Okay, but usually this is going to take about 3 to 5 minutes from after we saved it, because this was the first time that we saved it. We just saved it now, right? So it's going to take some time, 3 to 5 minutes. So I'm going to pause this video and come back after it has reflected. You can see that there is an auto refresh that is happening right here. You can also refresh it yourself right here. You see I refreshed, but it is still 48. So it's going to take some few minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, and then I'll come back after we have been able to have that right there. However, guys, if you are new on this channel, go ahead right now. If you have not subscribed, to subscribe to our channel. If you are finding this video valuable, go ahead right now and click that like button and share this video, and also put your comment in the comment section below. All these will help us to be more motivated to create more videos for you guys. All right, guys, I'll see you in few minutes when our DAG is populated right here. Very good, guys. Now I have refreshed my UI, and you can see now I have 49 DAGs. Very good. If there is an error, you should be seeing something in red font right here showing you error. So you just take a look at that, see what the error is, and fix it. You might maybe have some typo error and all of that, or syntax error. Spend some time, take a look at it, and try to fix the error. Okay, in my own case, I don't have any error. I just need to go down and look for the DAG that I just created. And if you remember, this is our DAG ID right here. So I will click this. Very good. Now you can see if I come to graph, you can see now I have those two tasks right here. However, I need to go right here and put the dependencies. Okay, so I will say this is the first variable. This needs to run. I'll put paste, do a copy and paste right there, and then I will say this is the next one. So, and then I will save it. So what this means is that start my pipeline and then create my EMR cluster. Okay, I have saved it. I will just come right here and refresh this. Very good. Now you can see that we are going to be starting the pipeline and then creating the EMR cluster. So I want us to run this first and see if this is working. If this is working, then we'll let it create the EMR cluster, and then we will, while this continues to run, we will then be working on the other task. Okay, we'll then be working on the other task. Okay, very good. Let us see what we can do right here. This is our execute button or trigger button. Let us trigger it. But before that, let us come to my EMR page. Okay, let me go to EMR, my Amazon. Let me go to my Amazon EMR page. You can see all my clusters. I do not have any cluster running. You can see that all the clusters that I had already terminated them. Okay, so what happens right here is that when we trigger our DAG right here, is going to create an EMR cluster, and when it creates an EMR cluster, we should see another cluster right here with its own unique cluster ID. Okay, so let us come here and trigger, guys. Click that. You can see something right here. You can see if I click inside here, inside this button, you can see this first one is a success. This second one is also a success. If you click inside here, see what, and then you go to logs, and then see everything that is happening right here. There is no way to zoom this bigger. Let me see. Okay, I can zoom it, and then you can see that it found the credentials that we have in that AWS credentials. Okay, remember that we did the AWS configure command, right? And then we put our secret key, access key. So now because of that, it's able to have access to our AWS account. Okay, and then it has triggered that. So if we go to our EMR now, our EMR cluster page, if I refresh, see what is going to happen. You should be able to see a cluster that is springing up, or that is spinning up. So let us refresh. Oh, this is terminated with error. Okay, I think there was a problem. Terminated with error. What caused that? Let us see. If it says terminated with errors, let us click this. Let me refresh. Terminated with errors. Let us click this. What could have been the problem? So if we go to our S3 bucket, let's go to our S3 bucket, EMR logs. Let us refresh if we get any logs right here. Okay, we don't get any logs here. I think because it has not even created that. Okay, it has not even created the EMR. But let us come right here. Let us click this if we are going to see anything that caused it. So let's click that. Let's come right here. It says internal error. It says some cluster properties failed to load. Okay. Let us see. Let's click the. I don't think. Let's see if this has something for us. Yeah, it doesn't have anything here because that was what we tried before. Let us interplace contact AWS. Oh, it says the subnet ID, subnet this does not exist. Okay, it says it does not exist. Let us see what is happening. The subnet ID this does not exist. I remember we created the VPC. Let us come right here. Create subnets. This one, this was what we created. FAB3. 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 Let's see. Let's come right here. FAB3. Okay. FAB3. Say the subnet ID does not exist. It says the subnet ID does not exist, but we created it. Let's see, this is it, right? Oh, if you take a look at this, you can see that we created this in North Virginia. Yeah, we should have created it in US West because we are running our EMR in US West, right? So that is the problem, guys. That is the problem. So let us create our VPC again, guys. Let us create our VPC again. Okay, so what I can do is I can come right here to your VPC. Okay, now you can see, guys, that's how we are going to be having issues, and then we are going to be looking for ways to fix our issues. Okay, that is bound to happen. Okay, and that is why we are in development mode, right? It is not in production yet. So if I come to VPC, right, I have two VPCs. If I do this, and this is the one we just created. Okay, this is the one we just created. Okay, another thing also is that if I click on this one, you can see my subnet. It says subnet is US-East. You can see, but we are supposed to have it in US-West. Okay, so I don't need this. Let me just delete this. I will say delete VPC. Then I will just type delete. Okay, I'm deleting right now. We'll create another one. Sorry about that, guys. That is how it happens in the real world. You understand? So I will say create VPC. So my VPC right now, let's make sure that we are in the region we want. So I'll say US West. I'll say US West. You see, I changed to US West. Then I'll say create VPC. Okay, remember, take note. Make sure you are in the region you want. Okay, that was the problem I had. And then I will make sure I'm in VPC and more. Okay, and then I'll put the VPC name. Okay, it shouldn't be difficult. Then I'll say availability zone 2, public subnet 2, private subnet, I say 0, and then S3 gateway, and then I click create VPC. It should be able to work now, guys. Stay tuned. And then I can just copy. Let me just copy this. Yeah, I think 5006. This is it right here also. So let's just copy that. But you could also just copy it from here. So I basically made a mistake by clicking this. That's why I came to this tab. But then you can just copy it from here. Okay, that's fine. So just copy that, and then let's come back right here and then paste this. I think it should run now because now we have our subnet in US West. Our EC2 also is in US West and US West -2, and our EMR also is in US West -2. So everything is US West -2. So we should be able to run it now. Okay, let us see what's going to happen. Let me refresh this, and then if you want to check if your code, if what you updated in your code has propagated through, just come to code here, and then just come right here. You can see 5006. You can see 5006. Okay, so very good. So I can come back to my graph, and I can then come right here and trigger again, trigger, and then I can click this box, come to graph. You see that this is success. This also is success. It has triggered. Okay, now that it's triggered, let us go to our EMR cluster. Let's go back to our clusters. Let's go back to our clusters, and then let us it says terminated error again. Let us refresh. Let us see what is happening, guys. Let us click this. What is going on? Let us click. Let us go and check what's going on. Let me say this. Let me have this. Click this. Let me come back down. Updated was the error, validation error. Let's see where we can get some information. We may not be able to get any information in this S3, no, because it has not created that yet for us. Let's see. Okay, let's try to run it again. Not sure yet what's going on. Okay, let us come right here. Let's see. Yeah, this one says a success, so we should not be seeing any issue right here because this triggered it. But yeah, let's trigger again. Let's trigger again. There might be something else that is happening that we are not, that we don't have any, we are not seeing yet. It says terminating, validation error. All right, guys, one thing that I'm also suspecting is our EC2 key pair. Let us take a look at our EC2 key pair. Let us see if that also has something to do with our validation error. So let us come to our key pair right here. Okay, our key pair right here. Yeah, it seems this also is in North Virginia. Let me change this to US West. Okay, let me change to US West. Yeah, guys, you see that these are one of the reasons why we need to always check our everything we are doing very well, making sure they are in the right region. Okay, what name did we give it before? Let me see. We gave it EMR keep here Airflow. Okay, I will keep this the same, but let us take this to US West. Okay, US West, and let us do a create keep here. That might be the problem right there, guys. Then let us do .pem. Okay, these are bound to happen even in the real world, but we just have to debug and see what we can do to fix it. Okay, so now we have it right here. Now let us see what's going to happen right now, because remember that our EC2 key name, this is the name we gave it, but it wasn't seeing it inside our key pair in US West. That might be the reason why it's not validating. Let us check. These are good problems to have. As a matter of fact, it's also helping every one of us to also learn. Now you can begin to see the kind of problems you can be having whenever you are building a project, and you just have to calm down and see how you can resolve it. Let us see if we have resolved it. If we have not, then we still have to resolve it. That means that we are in our troubleshooting mode. Okay, so let us execute again. You can see if I come right here before I execute, you see we have this If I refresh, we have 3 that are terminated. Okay, let us execute again. Just execute. I'll click this little square, go to graph. Okay, now it has triggered EMR. Let us see if it was a success indeed. Okay, now let us come right here and refresh. Very good, guys, very good. At last, guys, we are able to get this going. Now you can see that this is in the starting mode. You can see it is in the starting mode. Okay, now it means that we have everything working. Our VPC is in the US West 2 region, and also our EC2 has been created in the US West 2 region. You can begin to see how you can fix bugs or how you can fix problem. Okay, guys, if you are new on this channel, go ahead right now and click on that subscribe button, and also make sure you click on the like button, and also help to share these videos. Comment also in the comment section, and also you can also request what videos you would like us to also make for you. Very good, guys. This is starting right here, guys, and this is going to take about 8 minutes or so, 8 to 10 or 11 minutes for it to eventually get completed. Okay, but one thing you will ask yourself is that when you have this type of workflow and you have triggered it, right? It has successfully triggered, but how do you know if the Airflow has completely been provisioned? Was there any error? What was the state after some few minutes, right? These are the things that we are going to be seeing next now when we are building the next task. Okay, but what I want us to do right now, guys, is that we will let this to continue to run while we are building our next set of tasks, and then we will run this DAG again. We'll run our workflow again. Okay, so let this continue to run. If I refresh, you'll see that this is still in starting mode. Okay, it's still starting. It's going to take up to like 10-11 minutes or so. Okay, very good, guys. I hope you guys are getting this project, you are understanding this, and you are having fun. Okay, take note, debugging is part of the learning right here. Okay, very good, guys. Now the next thing we would like to do is that, what about if we want to check if our EMR has been successfully created? If we want to check that, then we are going to be using what we call EMR job flow sensor. I'm going to copy and paste that right here. Okay, EMR job flow sensor, this is it right here. Okay, and then we need to make an import. I've told you in my previous videos what sensors are. This is going to be helping us to check if that EMR has been created. It's going to be checking the status of this EMR. Right now, this EMR is in the starting state. Okay, by the time it gets to the waiting state, it's going to let us know that now it is in the waiting state. Then we can proceed to the next task. Okay, so now what we are going to do is that we are going to import EMR job flow sensor. Okay, we are going to import it from here. Okay, and then we are creating a task right here. Okay, task ID, I'm giving it a task ID. I'm also giving it a variable right here. Now there is a job flow ID. Let me show you this in the documentation, guys. If I come to EMR job flow sensor, you can see there is a documentation by these guys, Astronomer. This is very good. Okay, you can have your job flow ID, the target state. What state are you trying to monitor? Are you trying to sense? You can see that it says sensor waits until job flow reaches any of these states. That is the state that with which you have put right here. okay, in this argument right here, and you can play with these different things. Okay, you can put the poke interval, okay, the timeout, after how many seconds or hours or minutes do you want that task to time out if it doesn't see anything happening. What mode do you want to use? You want to use poke mode or reschedule mode? The default is poke mode, and that's what we are going to be using. Okay, and the AWS connection ID. In the case of today's project, we will not be using AWS connection ID because we already did AWS configure, okay, on our EC2. So our EC2 already have access to our AWS. Okay, very good. So what we are going to be doing is we are going to continue to poke the our AWS to check the states of our AWS. Right now it is still in the starting state. Okay, so now let us come right here. Now the question you ask yourself is, how will Airflow know which EMR to be monitoring? So what happens is that when this EMR got created, there is a job flow ID that also got created. If I come right here, you can see this is the job flow ID. If I click this, you can see I have this cluster ID. You can also get this cluster ID if you come to this UI. If you come to XComs, I've explained what XComs is in my previous video. You can see that this is the return value, right? If we come back to this EMR, you can see it is the last 4 characters is EF1F. You can see EF1F. That means that when we triggered that task to create that EMR, there is a cluster ID that was returned right here. Okay, the key is return value. The value is this cluster ID. So let us grab this value. Okay, that this is the value of the cluster ID which is running right now. Okay, which is running right now, this one. Okay, which is still in starting status. So we are going to come right here and we are going to use Ginger templating. Okay, I've also explained this in my previous videos what it is. So we are going to use this command, task instance dot scompool, and then you put your task ID. Which task ID are you trying to get the return value? We are trying to get the return value of this task ID, because if you look at this is the task ID right here. This task ID is this one. I'm trying to get what is the return value, what is the value that this task returns. And you and I, we just confirmed right now from here that what it returned is this cluster ID. This is the job flow ID. Okay, so in that case, that value is going to be passed inside this job flow ID, and then my target state, I'm going to put it inside this curly bracket. So I want to specify the desired state that I want this sensor to be monitoring. So I want it that after it changes, after my EMR right here, the status changes to waiting, I want it to stop. That means I want it to be a success. Okay, I want it to be a success. Okay, and then the timeout. That means that if my EMR doesn't get to this status in 3600 seconds, and then this is going to time out. Okay, then the poke interval, I want it to be poking every 5 seconds, to be checking every 5 seconds. If you want, you can do it every 20 seconds. Since we know that EMR cluster is going to be provisioned in say 10 or 11 or 12 minutes. So that means you may not need to do it every 5 seconds. But because I want to show you what's going on, I will just put it in 5 seconds so that we can quickly see it instead of waiting for too long. Okay, so you can specify the desired state. You can say waiting or whatever state that you want. Then mode, the mode, I want it to be poke mode, right? Even though poke is the default, but I want to put it here so that you guys can see it. Okay, so now I will set this dependency right here. Very good, guys, very good. Now that we have created the job flow sensor, the next thing we would like to create is to extract our redfin data. Okay, we want that task that will help us to extract our redfin data. Okay, now how do we do that? And that is where we need to start adding steps. Okay, adding steps. So the first step we are going to add right here is the extraction step, where we are going to extract our data from redfin data center. Okay, now what we are going to do right here is that we are going to use the EMR add steps operator, which we have also provisioned right here. Okay, after we add all these steps, and we are going to run this DAG once again. We're going to see everything from end to end. Okay, so this is the step, EMR add steps. We want to add the steps, and the first step we want to add is the extraction step. That's why I called it add extraction step. Okay, I give it a task ID. Okay, now which cluster do you want to add the extraction step? That is the same cluster we just created. Basically, the cluster that is created by this task is what we want to create the steps. Okay, so I will then use scompo. The task ID is this task ID for this one, then the return value is this. Okay, and then there is something we call steps. Their steps, you need to pass an argument to it that will tell us what we need to do. So we call it Spark steps. I give it this name, Spark steps extraction. So I will put that right here now for you guys to see, and then I will take you to the documentation. Okay, I hope you guys are getting it. I know there is a lot of stuff right here, but trust me, it's worth it, and we are going to get it right. Okay, so look at this. I call this Spark steps extraction. Let me take you to documentation so that you can see Spark step extraction. Spark step. Okay, let us come right here. Add steps to an EMR job. You can see these are the arguments that you need to pass. Okay, for this one I don't need this right now because I already have access to my AWS through the AWS configure. So you can see steps. It says Spark steps. Okay, if you go to Spark steps, what is Spark steps? This is an example of Spark steps. Okay, I can in this list I can have multiple steps together in one list, but in this case I want to break it down. Okay, I want to have extraction step and transformation steps separate. So you just need to include, just need to put what action on failure. Do you want it to continue or you want it to wait? What is the name of this step? Okay, and what command do you want to run, and what is the argument? Okay, so I will show you right now in my code. So guys, so I am giving this extraction step this name, extract redfin data. Okay, what is the action on failure? I will call it cancel and wait. Okay, and then what is the jar file that I want it to run? Okay, now AWS has provided us this script runner.jar file. Okay, the only thing, so we are going to use this path exactly the way it is. The only thing you are going to change is this right here. So you need to specify the region that you are running. So in my own case, I'm running on US-West-2. So in your own case, put your region right there. If it is not Virginia, put the region for that right here. Okay, what is this script runner.jar? Let me take you to this documentation right here, guys, because this way you really understand what's going on. Okay, so you see this script runner.jar. I will give you the link to this right in the description below. It said this is hosted on Amazon S3 at this. You can see where region is the region in which your Amazon EMR cluster resides. You can see in my own case it is US West 2. You can use script runner jar to run scripts saved locally or on Amazon S3 on your cluster. You can see that now. So in my own case, I'm gonna be putting a script on my S3 bucket, and I want to run that script. For me to run that script, Amazon has provided something, a .jar file, that will help me to be able to run that script. Okay, it says you must specify the full URI of script runner jar when you submit a step. So we need to put this complete path, okay, which is what I have done here for you guys. I hope you are getting it now, okay? And then the next argument is going to be the path where I am going to put the script to run, okay? So remember that we have our S3 bucket. We created a folder which is script. So I need to put this file right here, ingest.sh, okay? So I'm going to create that right now. Okay, let me open a notepad right here, and then I'll do a copy and paste for you guys. Okay, so this is, let me make it bigger. So what I'm doing right here is that I'm using a wget command right here, okay? And what this is doing right here is that, and by the way, I also explained this in my video right here, okay? Let me see if we have the link to the Redfin center. Okay, this is the Redfin center. This is the Redfin center. If you want to download the data, if you come to this link, I will give you that link in the description below. If you come to how it works, so in this case, we are going to be looking at city level data set. So all you have to do is right click this and do copy link address. If you copy this link address, let's say you paste it on your notepad, you can see this is the link address, and this is the link that I put right here, this link right here. You can see that. So I'm using wget command to extract, to go to this link, to download this .gz file, okay, and then I'm copying using AWS command to copy that inside this S3 bucket, this folder. You can see that this raw data folder, and then we are giving it this name, city_market_tracker.this file. You see, I'm giving it this exact same name that they gave it on their own website as well. So I'm going to just close that. Okay, I'm going to delete that rather. So what you can do is go to file and then do save as. When you do save as, so save this as ingest.sh, ingest.sh, save it somewhere on your computer, okay, and then drag it into your S3 bucket. I will show you that right now. If you go back to my own S3 buckets, remember we have scripts, right here, and then in my own case I have my what is it called? So in my own case I have my ingest.sh file, okay? So like I said, on this notepad, just do save as, okay, and then save it as ingest.sh. So just come right here, okay, and just do ingest.sh. Okay, so in my own case I already have it, so I will just drag it to my S3 bucket. So let me drag it right here. Okay, you can also do upload or drag it inside that script folder, and then I'll say upload. Now you can see that now I have what? Ingest.sh. So this ingest.sh, what it just doing is that is running a wget command, okay, that will go to this website, okay, for Redfin, download that .gz file, and then copy it inside this my folder on my S3 bucket, and then giving it this name. Okay, very good guys, I hope you guys get that now. Okay, So I will delete this. I don't need that. I already have this ingest.sh. Okay, now let me come back right here. So this is what is going to run that for us. Okay, so that is the first, that is that step of extraction. Okay, so I will just come right here. I'll put the dependency right there, add extraction step. Okay, very good, guys. I hope you guys are getting this now. Now, after we trigger the extraction step, how do we know if that extraction step has been completed? Okay, that in that case, we will then use what we call EMR step sensor. I'll put that right here as well, and then I'll give it a variable name called is extraction completed. Okay, so you see now, guys, I'm trying to just build all our tasks right now so that we can then run everything at once, and then we'll see how that works. Okay, so now we want to check if that our extraction step is completed. You need to import EMR step sensor. If you come right here, we have already imported that right here. Okay, very good. And then we can just add it in our dependency right here. Okay, now what is this doing? We are giving is this task ID. Then we want to tell Airflow which job flow ID are we talking about. So take note, it's going to be the job flow ID that is created by this task. Okay, and that is why we are using this command again. Okay, we already learned that. Another thing then also is that you need to define your step ID. Which step ID are you trying to sense? Okay, remember that this is our extraction step, and we want to check if this extraction step has been completed. Okay, so we will now put this into this Ginger template. I will say task instance xcom underscore pool. Then the task ID we are trying to monitor here is this one right here. Okay, and the way the result comes out is that it comes out, the way the step ID comes out is it comes out in a list. Okay, when we get there also, I will show you. Okay, so it's going to be in a list, but the lists, the first one is what we need. Usually, it depends on how many steps you add in this particular task right here. Let's say we add so many steps to this Spark step, then we can have the list to have different, maybe index 0, index 1, index 2, depending on the number of steps. But because here we are only dealing with one step right here, because if you remember in my extraction step right here, I only have just one thing right here. Okay, and that's why it's just going to be 0 right here. That's the first index. Okay, and what are we trying to monitor? We are trying to monitor for completeness, if this has been completed. Okay, now one thing I also like to tell you guys is that when you are typing this state right here, make sure it is in uppercase, because I also ran into some issues previously whereby I wrote this in lowercase, or maybe you say C is uppercase and others lowercase. It will not work because it wants it to be uppercase. Okay, take note of that. Then I set my timeout, then I set my poke interval. Okay, so this will help us to monitor this EMR add steps operator. Okay, it's going to tell us if this extraction step has been completed, and this extraction step is going to be running these scripts that we are putting right here, this ingest.sh. Okay, that's our wget command. Okay, very good, guys. Now that we have gotten that, okay, the next thing we would like to add, remember in our architecture, remember that we have all this already. Okay, we have added the extraction step, we have checked if the extraction step is completed, we have added that. Now we want to add another step, which is the transformation step. Okay, let me copy and paste that one right now. Okay, make sure your syntax is correct, your indentation and all of that. Check that. Okay, now guys, you can see that we are beginning to build this right here, guys. If you are new on this channel, go ahead right now, guys, and subscribe to this channel and click on that like button. Okay, and also click on the bell to be notified whenever we release any of our videos. Also, don't forget to comment in the comment section below. Your comment and your like of our videos really means a lot to us, and this is also going to help us in terms of the YouTube algorithm, so that we can be ranked higher in the YouTube algorithms when folks are making their search. Okay, and also please share this with your colleagues, with your friends, with your teammates, and all of that. Okay, very good, guys. So one thing I should also show is the EMR step. I also have a documentation for that. This is add EMR step. Okay, you can see that if you want to add the EMR step. Also, if you want to do EMR step sensor, I'll give you this link. Go ahead and take a look and play around with some of those arguments or parameters right there. Okay, very good. So now we want to add the transformation step. So it's basically going to be the same approach like we did for extraction. Give it a task ID. Okay, in which cluster do you want to add this step? We are going to put that right here because it is the cluster that would be created from here. Remember that for each run of our DAG, we are going to be having a unique EMR cluster ID. Take note of that. Okay, very good. So now we are also then going to be talking about our step. Okay, so I will say Spark steps transformation. I gave it a different name, so I will then come right here and do a copy and paste. Okay, let me come right here, guys. I hope you guys are finding this valuable. So we are going to do basically the same thing. Give it a name, action on failure, cancel and wait. But in the case of this one, the jar we are going to be using right here is command runner jar. Okay, command runner jar. And what is that? Let me come right here. This same link I showed you before. Command runner jar, it says located on the Amazon EMR AMI for your cluster. You can use command runner jar to run commands on your cluster. You specify this without using its full path. You see that? And that is why I am just putting command runner.jar. Okay, and the argument you are going to be putting Spark submit, because we are submitting a Spark job right here. And then which .py file are we trying to run? This is what I am trying to run, which I am going to put in this script folder. Okay, very good. For those of you that have watched my previous video right here, so those code that we ran on our Jupyter notebook is basically that same code that we're going to be running today. So I am not going to be explaining that, so I encourage you to go and watch the video. Okay, but I will provide the .py file for you in my GitHub. Okay, I will provide that for you so you can download it from there and then put it in your S3 bucket. But what I'm going to do right now is I will just flash it for you right now. Okay, I'll flash it for you so that you can see it right here. You see, I just drag it to this screen. You can see what I'm doing. I'm making my import, creating my Spark session, and then creating a function that will do the transformation. Okay, and then I am putting the raw data S3 bucket, and then the transformation S3 bucket, and what name I want to give my transformed data. In this case, I want to put it in package file, unlike this video right here where I put it in CSV file and then saved it in S3 bucket. for this particular one, I want to have it as packet. Okay, so all this remains the same. I have the comments right there. They are easy to understand. And then finally, I will write it in this bucket that we just mentioned right here. Okay, and there's going to be redfin underscore data underscore packet. Okay, I have explained all this code in my previous video, so please go ahead and check that out. And then we are going to call the function inside this script. Okay, so I'm going to drag this script inside that folder right there, inside this script folder in our S3 bucket, so that our Airflow knows where to pick it from and run those code. Okay, very good. So let us do that right now. I have it in my other screen. I'm going to drag it right now into this S3 bucket. So I will come right here, drag it, and then I will upload. Very good. This has uploaded. You can see we have that right here. Okay, and then let us come back right here. Okay, now we have added that, so that means that this step can run that code for us. Okay, very good. Because I don't have step right here, let me copy this and then go to the next line to continue our dependency. Okay, so this right here now, add transformation step. Let us bring it right here. You can see if you don't have space anymore after you have all this dependency, all you have to do is get the last task and then just put it right here, and then put the next one you want to follow it. Okay, very good. So before we continue, guys, let us go back to the EMR that we ran before. Remember, we ran this DAG before and we triggered EMR cluster creation. Let us see if that even got completed. Let's go right there, guys. EMR, this is saying starting. Let us refresh. If I refresh, very good, guys, very good. Now you can see right here, guys, that this is in the waiting state. So what that means is that, assuming we had already created all our tasks, take for example like all these tasks I was telling you about, assuming we had already created everything, what would have happened is that when we created this task, when we created this EMR in this task, okay, then this task right here is EMR cluster created. This is what is going to help us to tell us if we are in the waiting state. When we are in the waiting state, then this task is going to be marked as success, and then it moves to the next one. Okay, take note that whenever you are running this DAG, the EMR that is created here, we are going to grab the job flow ID right here, and then we are going to be monitoring it. Okay, we are going to try that shortly. Let us build all these tasks for now. However, before that, I can manually terminate this task. I'll just check this and then terminate this task. I'm just terminating right now, and then we are going to rerun everything again after we build all the tasks. Okay, now you can see right here, guys, that now that we have added this transformation step, we need to be able to monitor that task if it has completed or not. Okay, so what we can do is that we can add a sensor. So what I'm going to do is that I will call this sensor, I will use the EMR step sensor, which we have already imported previously. I'll call it is transformation completed. So I'll give it this task. Okay, and then this is the job flow ID where our transformation step is going to, where it ran. And what is the step ID? Because when this step runs, when it runs, it's going to create a step ID, which is the same thing I was telling you about here. It's going to create this step ID, and then it's going to put that in our XCOM. Right? XCOM is cross communication. Okay, that means you are doing a cross communication between different tasks, And I've also explained that in my previous video. If you come to this video right here, I've explained that. Okay, now we are going to grab that step ID right here. So still the same strategy we talked about right here in this one, but just that in this case the task ID is going to be this transformation step task ID. Okay, and what are we trying to monitor? We are trying to monitor if that task ID, if that task is completed. Remember to put it in uppercase, and then you can specify your timeout and your poke interval. Okay, so now when we are done with extraction and transformation, we might want to terminate our cluster so that we don't continue to bear cost. Okay, so what I will do then is that I will create another task. I'll create another task, but before that, let me put this in my dependency right here. Is transformation completed? Okay, very good. So now this EMR terminate job flow operator, we had already imported that right here. Okay, remember that we imported add steps operator as well. So EMR terminate job flow operator. So that's what we are. That's what we are using right now. Okay, so now that we have that, we are going to give a task ID. By the way, if you go to your documentation that I was showing you right here, you will see that terminating EMR job flow operator. You see EMR terminate job flow operator, put the task ID and put the job flow ID. Okay, and the job flow ID is what we are going to be getting using this task instance x.xcom_pool, because this job flow is what we created. This is the ID that we already got from here, that we created from here. Okay, so that's what we are getting from the xcom pool right here, and then the key return value, right? We already understand that. So what that means that this operator is going to help to kill that EMR, to terminate that EMR. So I will put this and add it to my dependencies right here. Okay, now how do you know if your EMR job is completely terminated? Okay, for me to know if it's completely terminated, I can just come here and use EMR job flow sensor. You see that EMR job flow sensor. Remember that we used EMR job flow sensor also right here when we were checking if that cluster was provisioned already, right? So that's the same EMR job flow sensor that we want to use to check. But in this case, the target state is going to be terminated. Remember, uppercase, because previously we said we were checking for waiting, right? Waiting, right? But in this case, we want to check for terminated. So if it is terminated, then this task is going to be marked as success. Okay, take for example, if we go to this EMR, you can see this one says terminating. It is still terminating, it has not completed. Let us refresh. Let's see the new status. Okay, now you can see terminated. So that means that it goes, you could have running state, you could have waiting state, you could have terminating state, you could have terminated state. You see that you could have different kinds of states. Okay, so now this is terminated state, then you can have your timeout, poke interval, and your mode. Okay, now I believe we have been able to have everything. If you want, you can also say, you want to put another dummy operator right here. Let's just say we want to do that. Then we can say end pipeline, and then I would give this a task ID of end pipeline. We are using a dummy operator. So now what I will do is, because I don't have enough space here, I will just copy this, remove cluster. After remove cluster, I'll say is EMR cluster terminated. Then I'll put my end pipeline. Okay, I think that should be pretty much it right now, guys. I think so. If we have any error, guys, we are going to look for ways to debug it. Okay, let me just do a quick check again to make sure that everything looks good. Okay, we have our S3 bucket right here. Okay, we have this. Okay, let's see, just so everything works smooth. Let's see. Okay, fingers crossed. Let's just hold on and let's see if we have any error. We'll debug it. Error is part of life for developers. Okay, so what I would do is I would come right here. Let us, you can see that I have not saved, but let me take you back to our DAG. Let me turn this off so it doesn't run. Let me click this. Let me go to graph. You can see that this is what I still have, the one we ran previously. Okay, but now let me save this. Okay, if you see what I have right here, I have poke interval 10, I have this one 5. Feel free to use any poke interval you want based on your requirements. Okay, so but I'm just doing it to be short interval so that we can easily see it during this video. Okay, so if I go back to my UI, if I refresh, very good, guys. Now, guys, you can see, let me see if I can make it bigger. Okay, very good. You can see now that we are starting the pipeline. We are creating EMR cluster, and then we want to check if the EMR has been created. That's the sensor. We want to add the extraction step, okay, which is going to be using the ingest.sh script, okay, and that's going to be using the wget command, right? And then we are going to check if the extraction step is completed. If it is completed, then it moves to the next task. We are going to add the transformation step, and then we are going to be checking if the transformation step is completed, after which we will then remove the cluster. We will terminate the cluster. How do we know if the cluster is terminated? We want to have a sensor that will show us that, and then we want to have our end pipeline dummy operator to just signifies that we are at the end of the pipeline. Okay, because this will really be good whenever, if you are working in the actual if you are working in the industry where you have a lot of DAGs and a lot of stuff, and you have cross collaboration with other teams. So it really helps you people when they are looking at your DAG to really know where the end of the DAG is, because in most cases the DAG is going to be more complex than this, with a lot of branches and all of that. So it's good for you to be able to signify the start and the end of the pipeline. Okay, very good. Now that we have these guys, so what we can do is that we can trigger and see what happens. Okay, fingers crossed. If you also want to check if all your code has propagated through, just click on this code and just scroll down just to make sure that everything has propagated through. And this seems like everything has propagated through. I'll go back to graph. Okay, I'll make this bigger. Guys, before we run this right here, guys, if you are finding this video valuable, please go ahead and click that subscribe button, okay, and click on that like button also, so that we can be ranked higher by the YouTube algorithm. And also put your comment in the comment section below, and also help to share this among your friends, among your colleagues. Okay, we want to be able to get to increase our number of subscribers and the number of people that we are that we are impacting. Okay, help me to get to that stage, okay, that in the next 1 month help me to get to the 10,000 subscriber. Okay, so share this among your friends, encourage your friends, okay, to go through our videos, to watch our videos and build projects, as they are trying to transition into data engineering, or even they are in data engineering already, but they need this for their project to work. Okay, encourage them to subscribe, help me to get to 10,000 subscribers in the next 1 month. Okay, all right guys, let's get this going, guys. Let us click execute. Again, if we get error, we are going to debug. Okay, let me refresh this just so we know what is in the latest cluster. Okay, you can see that, guys. Let us now execute. I click trigger DAG, and then I'll come right here. I'll click this first one. Okay, and then I'll zoom in to make it bigger so we can see. Okay, now guys, you can see what's going on, guys. We have started the pipeline, right? And then we have triggered the creation of the cluster. Okay, let us click on this and let us go to logs. If you go to logs, you can see that job flow ID here has been created. What is our job flow ID? It ends in N6W3. N6W3. Let us go to our EMR cluster. Let us refresh. Very good. You can see N6W3. You can see now that this is starting out. This is starting. Okay. So what is going to happen is that, let's go back to graph. What is going to happen now is that you can see this task right here that we call is EMR cluster created. Okay, if I click on this and I go to logs, this is what is trying to check. This sensor is trying to check if the EMR cluster has been fully created, because if it is created, this status is going to change to waiting, right? It's going to change to the waiting status. Okay, and that is what this sensor is checking. So if you go to logs, let us see what is happening. You can see that, what is happening, right? You say found credentials. It found our credentials in this folder, and then now it's poking this cluster. You see that this is the cluster we just created, and that's why I told you that if you come back to this, our code, and that's why I told you that when you create your cluster right here, this is going to generate a job ID, job flow ID, and that job flow ID, we are going to extract that right here, and then we are going to be monitoring it until we get to this target state. Okay, so now you can see that this is poking every 5 minutes. It says job flow currently starting. If you scroll down, you can see job flow currently starting, right? So it is still in the starting state. You can see every 5 seconds we are poking. You can see this one was 1940-46, and then it goes to 1940-51, then it goes to 1940-56, 1940-56. You can see every 5 seconds we are poking. Okay, but because this is going to take about 11 minutes or so, okay, because it's going to take a long time, okay, so we would like to just spend some time. So because this is going to take some time, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this video, and then intermittently I will come back in to explain what is going on, so that we can be able to understand what is going on this DAG end to end. So as this is going on, I'll be coming in, and give some comments, okay, as the DAG progresses. Okay, but this stage is going to take some minutes. Okay, all right guys, again, if you have not subscribed, please go ahead right now and click that subscribe button. What are you waiting for, guys? So click that subscribe button, and also click that bell so that you can be notified whenever we release any of our videos. Please share this video among your friends, encourage them to subscribe. We want to get to 10,000 subscribers in the next 1 month. Help us to be able to achieve this so that we can impact more lives. Okay, and also do not forget to click that like button and click and also put your comment in the comment section below. If you have any question or you have anything that you want us to any video you would like us to make, please put that in the comment section below. All right, guys, I will take some break right now while this is running, and then I will be coming in intermittently to make comments based on the DAG. Okay, this step right now is going to take some time. Go get some coffee or go get some water, or do whatever thing you want to do, and then come back and take a look at what's going on. All right, guys, see you later. Hello, guys. You can see right now that the EMR cluster created is not success, and then now it added extraction step. Let's see what happens. Let us refresh this. You can see very good. You can see now it is in waiting. This completed in about 10 minutes. You can see that it's completed in about 10 minutes. This is the cluster job ID. You can see that, guys. And then it went straight to the extraction step, and this extraction step where we are going to add the extraction step, if you come to logs, you can see it says adding steps to this cluster ID, and this is the cluster ID that we are working on. You can see N6W3. You can see N6W3. Okay, so and then it created a step ID for that extraction step. You can see this is the step ID. It added it to that job flow. You can see, let me go back to my graph. You can see that was successful, and then now that step is running. Let me click this and then come to steps. You can see that the step is running right now. It is running. So because it is running, let us check our sensor right here. Click this, come to logs. You can see that our log right here, first of all, said that it is pending, and then pending, because we are checking for that cluster ID and the step. That step, you can see it's pending, and then it went to running eventually. So that step was running, and then it got to completed. You can see if we go back to graph, you can see it's extraction completed. Now it's completed, and then we now went to add transformation step. You can see that the process is still ongoing. So we have added extraction step right now. That is added. Okay, if I come back right here, if I refresh this, refresh table, now you can see this is the transformation step is in pending. Therefore, if I go to my sensor that is checking if it is completed, if I click this and I go to logs, you can see that this second step also has its own step ID. The step ID was created in this add transformation step. If you come right here, you can see this is the cluster ID, and then this is the step ID that it is adding to that job ID, to that job, right, to that job flow. So if I come back and check for the sensor that is checking for our transformation, let us check the logs. You can see it's saying pending. Now it says running. So it is running all those transformation steps that I showed you in that .py file. You can see if I refresh this, you can see it is running. Okay, you can see that the status here says running, right? It is in upper and lower case. Your R is uppercase, and then your it is capitalized. Basically all these characters are lowercase, right? However, if you put this like this in your code, it's not going to be able to sense it, because I've also had that type of problem previously, and that's why I say just put all this in uppercase. And why is that? Is because if you come to your Airflow right here, when your Airflow is reporting this, is reporting it as uppercase. You can see your pending, your running, everything is in uppercase. And that is why Airflow wants us to put these things in uppercases. Okay, you can see that's why we have uppercase right there. Okay, completed. Okay, very good. I think this is really running pretty good. You can see that we are checking if transformation step is completed. You see that this tells us that it is still running. If you go to our S3 bucket, let's go to our S3 bucket and confirm what's going on. If I come to this S3 bucket, our raw data, this is our raw data. You see our raw data, you see we're able to extract it inside here, and then we are going to grab this data in the transformation step, and then we are going to load it in this folder, this transform zone folder. You can see we don't have anything yet. Why is that? Is because this is still running. If I refresh this and I go to steps, you see that it is still running. So because of that, I don't have anything yet in this folder. Okay, so let us continue to monitor it. Hopefully we don't have error. You can see it is still running. But again, error is good, because if you have error, you can debug, and it helps you to learn better. It helps you to learn new things. Okay, the more you debug. Okay, we just want to make sure that our code is free of error before you productionalize it, before you put it in production. Okay, very good. You can see how we begin to learn how we can automate running EMR jobs. Okay, and this is what you're going to be doing in the industry as well. When you are working on big data technologies, okay, you are going to be automating the process, because you don't want to be running manual processes. Okay, now very good. You can see what is happening. This is still running. It continues to poke. Okay, it continues to poke. I think this one is poking every 10 seconds. Yes, this one is poking every 10 seconds. If you look at it, the transformation step, we put 10 seconds. You can see that we put 10 seconds. So that one is poking every 10 seconds. That's good. So we are still in the running phase. It's still running. Let me refresh this just for you to see. Okay, very good. Now it says completed. Now that it is completed, let us verify that right here. Very good. You can see this also said success criteria met, exiting. It is a success. Let's go back to our graph. You can see now, because now we have finished that, now we are terminating our cluster. Okay, you can see that like I said, if you are terminating your cluster, you need to be able to sense it if it has finished terminating or not. Let us go to our EMR. Let us see what's going on. Let's click this. Now you can see this is saying terminating. Let us go to our sensor. This is interesting, guys. I love this. You can see now we are poking every 5 seconds. Okay, and you can see it says terminating. You can see it is still running, because it is still in the termination step. So when it finished terminating, then it's going to get to terminated, and then it's going to mark this as success. Okay, it is still running. You can see it is still running. It is still in terminating phase. You can see if I refresh this, let's see now. You see now this is terminated. So in the next few seconds, our airflow should be, this also should say terminated. You can see now our log right here now is saying terminated, and then immediately it did that. You can see it marked this as success. If you go to the graph, you can see, guys, now it marked this as success, and then it ended that pipeline. Wow, this is awesome. Now, guys, you can begin to see how we can automate our let's go back to our architecture. You can begin to see how we can use Airflow to automate our EMR jobs, from creating our EMR cluster. We mentioned the nodes that we want to create, okay, and then we checked has it been provisioned completely? Okay, is that a success? We added the steps. We use extraction step. Then we checked as the extraction step completed. We added transformation step. We check if the transformation step was completed. Okay, and then we said let us terminate the cluster, and we check if the termination step was success, and then we ended the pipeline. Wow, this is awesome, guys. Let us validate our S3 bucket where we have the transform file. You can see that it has been saved inside this. You can see the package file. Okay, if you go back to our architecture, you can see that we want to implement a situation whereby when that file lands in the S3 bucket, we want to trigger Snowpipe to perform a copy command to load that data inside Snowflake, and then also connect Power BI to the Snowflake. Okay, so guys, that is going to be your assignment for this project. Okay, I've showed you previously in my previous video. If you look at this, if you go to this video, I showed you how you can do that exactly. Okay, so in this particular video, our transformed file was a CSV, and then immediately it lands inside this transformed data bucket. It triggers Snowpipe, which then helps to perform the copy command to load the data inside Snowflake, and then I connected Power BI to it. Okay, so go and watch this video for you to be able to implement this. It's basically going to be almost the same thing. The only difference that you are going to be having is that instead of a CSV file, which we have in this case, okay, for this particular video that we just did this project, is going to be a package file. As you can see that in our transformed folder, you can see package file. I also showed you that in the .py file of the transformation code, the function, we are converting it to a package file. We are saving it as a package file. Okay, so the only difference is that in this one I showed right here was a CSV file, and then in this one that we just did right now is a package file. Okay, so it's pretty much almost the same thing. You only just need to create a file format for package, because in the case of this one, in the case of this project, I created a file format in Snowflake for CSV. Okay, but in this your assignment I'm giving to you, you are going to be creating a file format for package. Okay, so go through this video so that you understand how I completed this process, and do same thing. Okay, also for this one. Only thing is that this time around it's not a CSV, but it's a package file. Okay, so that is going to be your homework for this project, and that is how you will begin to be able to learn and be able to come up with a data engineering project yourself. Okay, if you are able to implement this, doing this project end to end and doing this homework, put that in the comment section below. Okay, if you are able to perform that, if you're able to complete the project end to end, I highly encourage you to go and do that. Again, that's how you're going to be learning. Okay, and again, like I said, I have already done that for you right here. The only thing is just that here I use the CSV file, but in this project we are going to be using package because we saved our file as package. So explore that and let me know in the comment section below if you were able to do that. Okay, all right guys, I hope you guys are getting this. Guys, if you are really finding this valuable, please go ahead right now and subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on that bell to be notified whenever we release any of our videos. Okay, and click that like button, guys, because when you click that like button, then that is telling YouTube algorithm that people like this video and it can show this video to more people. Also, put your comment in the comment section below, okay, because the more comments we have, the better the YouTube algorithm is going to rank us, because the YouTube algorithm will then say, oh, people like this video, therefore let me show it to more people. Okay, help us to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers that we want to achieve in the next 1 month. Okay, before the end of this year, we want to get to 10,000 subscribers. Please help us to achieve our goal by helping us to share our videos, helping us to share our playlist, and talking about our channel. As you can see right here, guys, I've showed you different documentations right here, and I am going to be sharing these documentations right here in the description below. Okay, and also these videos that I have shared with you, I will encourage, go and watch this video so that you can get an understanding of what I have done before, okay, and what I am doing right now in this video that I'm teaching you. Okay, I will share this link with you, where also you learn how to remotely connect your Visual Studio Code to AWS EC2. Okay, and also, guys, I'm also reminding you guys that after you complete this project, please make sure you terminate all the necessary services that you are not using that might be costing you money. Take, for example, the EC2 that we are running the Airflow on. Okay, go ahead and terminate that. Okay, your EMR is already terminated based on these DAG that we have created and we have run successfully, so that should be good. Okay, if you are able to complete this project, put that in the comment section below so that I will know that you are able to complete this project. And if you have any question, feel free to put that in the comment section below. Also, my access key, I am going to be deleting that, and the reason I'm deleting that is because I've also used it in this video, right? So that you guys don't have access to that, I'm going to be deleting it and deactivating it. Okay, all right, guys, again, if you find this valuable, click on that like button and click on that subscribe button. Help us to get to 10,000 subscribers before the end of this year, guys. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye.